with Black Box Silver and Bronze here again for Alan's Friday Challenge. Sword covers. So, by the power of Grayskull, let's check them out. Hey, comic addicts. When I watched Alan's challenge video, he mentioned that he had a lot of sword covers in his PC.
I have some really great sword covers. Actually, as I was pulling out sword covers, I was like, oh, that's another great one. Oh, that's another great one. I was like, I couldn't believe how many sword covers there are. And there's a few that I actually wanted to include on the list, but I was like, I have too many already. I'll stick with the ones I have. But there's so many sword covers out there.
Then I watched Epoch's challenge video, and he said the same thing.
I had a lot of difficulty with this challenge this week, and normally when I have difficulty with the challenges, it's usually because I don't have enough books, or I have books where the link is tenuous at best. But this week the struggle came because I had too many covers that had swords on, so I had a bit of a struggle kind of narrowing down the 10 covers that I wanted to show.
And I couldn't believe it, but when I started digging through my PC, I identified in my collection 209 comics with swords on the cover. And I'm sure I missed some. So it was tough to narrow it down. I've got 10, but I have 2 honorable mentions. Okay. The first honorable mention is Batman number 244. And this is from July of 1972. And it's a classic Neil Adams cover with Ra's al Ghul. And so that's one that didn't make my top 10. And the second one is Wonder Woman 204 from February of 1973. And so I have the run of around this time when Wonder Woman was not in this costume anymore, but this is when she got back into it. And so here she is fighting Nubia. This is the first appearance of Nubia, and it is a Don Heck cover. And so those are my 2 honorable mentions. So now let's get into the top 10. Number 10 is Navy History and Tradition from 1782 to 1817. This was a comic that was put out by Navy recruiting stations, and you can see there's a stamp on it right there. It says the recruiter in charge, U.S. Navy Recruiting Branch Station, Post Office Building, Rocky Mount, North Carolina. So this comic was given out at recruiting stations, but there were 5 more of these. So there were 6 that I know of. And one of them was from 1772 to 1778. One was 1861 to 1865. It was a Civil War issue. One was from 1865 to 1936. Another one went from 1817 all the way up to 1865. And the other one I know about is from 1940 through 1945, covering World War II. So I have a copy of each of those in my collection, and I am retired Navy, so I like those. Number 9, I'm showing Blade number 1 from July of 1994. And so what's cool about this cover is it's one of those gimmick covers. So the blades are actually shiny. Maybe you could get a little reflection when I tilt it like that. But some of these, this is in the 90s when they had all those gimmick covers. I wasn't collecting at that time. So it's really fun for me now to find all of these gimmick covers, like usually in the dollar bin. I hardly pay anything for it. And so some of them are pretty cool. This is a cool one. They didn't go overboard. They just put the silver on the blades. Number 8 is Teenage Brides number 6. This is a Harvey comic from June of 1954, and the artwork is Lee Elias. He's a really good artist. And I like this one because it's got the sword arch, the military sword arch, and I had a sword arch when I got married, and I participated in Friends being part of the Sword Arch. So when I saw this, I thought that was really cool. I have another comic called Romantic Adventures by ACG, issue number 52. No, issue number 22 from June of 1952, which is another Sword Arch cover, but I like this one better. So that's why I showed that for number 8. Number 7, here's Robin Hood number 2, and this is a IW reprint. And I love this cover. One of the things that was cool about IW reprint and Super Comics was that whenever they reprinted it, they would always make a new cover. And so this is a great action cover, you know, like you think of Errol Flynn as Robin Hood. And he's got the sword there. And so IW reprint had an issue number 1 as well as this one. And then later, Super Comics did a Robin Hood number 9, 10, and 15. And they all had great covers. And pay attention to that pose there, because now when I show you the next one, I want you to think about this. Number 6 is Buccaneers number 8, also an IW reprint. This is from 1958. And they also had a reprint, which was Buccaneer issue number 1, which was an awesome cover. I'd like to find that one day. And I'll put up here the Robin Hood image again, side by side. You could see it's both a swashbuckler swinging in with the sword extended. And this one, of course, has other swords on the cover, because the other pirates have swords. Number 5 is Son of Sinbad number 1. And this is by St. John Press from February of 1950. That's a Joe Kubert cover, and that is a great cover. It's a great Golden Age cover. There's a lot of crazy stuff going on there. The girl's in bondage. It appears to be fire and smoke swirling around her. Got this guy down here with the cutlass, and then Son of Sinbad coming in there with his own sword. So a couple of swords on that cover. Son of Sinbad, number 1. Number 4 is my copy of The Black Knight number 1 by Toby Press from May of 1953. There's lots of swords going on that cover, arrows, spears, a woman in bondage on the pole. And I believe this to be the first cover appearance of Black Knight and his first solo title. So I had posted that this was his first appearance, and someone corrected me, said he appeared in earlier comics, but I think this is his first cover appearance and first solo title, and predates the Marvel Black Knight. You could get this for a lot less than the Marvel Black Knight. It's a great story. Number 3, a beautiful redhead vixen, Hawk Girl. And this is Hawkman number 6 from January of 1987. And this was a pure cover buy for me. I found this in a dollar bin and snagged it right up. I had never seen it before. I've read Hawkman. I have several issues of Hawkman from his different series, but I'd never seen this one before. But that one is just really killer. So I love having that one. That's number 3. Number 2, another killer redhead, Red Sonja. And this is Red Sonja number 1 from August of 83. And this is a Walt Simonson cover. I can't find his name on here. Like, he draws that little dinosaur of his name. I looked all over. I couldn't find it, but he's credited with this on different websites I checked out. And that is another just awesome cover, close-up of Red Sonja with her 2 crossed swords. And, she looks pretty intense, like don't mess with me kind of look. So that's my number 2. My number one comic is the comic that came immediately to mind when Alan proposed this challenge. And I was watching his show, waiting for him to show this one, and he never did. So my number one is Thor number 156 from September of 1968. It's a Jack Kirby cover, Jack Kirby art inside and Stan Lee story. And as soon as Alan mentioned swords, this one came right to mind because that's probably the biggest sword you will ever see on the cover of any comic. Thor 156. Comic addicts, thanks for watching my show. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.